Alrighty then, let's talk about this right here. I bought a bunch of banjos the other day and this one was in the mix. This is a kind of a do-it-yourself banjo kit. I think they call these a mountain banjo. I've been looking online and seeing where you can buy all the stuff that you need to make these with. It's kind of an opportunity to build your own banjo. This one here got a guy's name on it. Built it, Noah Cline, number 66 in 2019. So apparently Noah Cline's out there building these and maybe selling them. I don't know if he built 66 of them, he's doing something with them. So anyway, it's nice to play. I got problems with my hands. I've got a couple of things that people, I didn't know what they was, but people call them trigger fingers. I get up in the morning, sometimes I can't open my hand. I can open all but a couple fingers and then they snap open. Hurts a little, but it ain't too bad. I've been kind of thinking I should play more. Cause probably if you're having trouble with your fingers, you know, playing the banjo is a pretty good way to keep using them so that they, don't get to where you can't use your hands anymore. Of course, I've had people tell me, oh, you can do surgeries, you can get shots, you can get this and that, but I kind of try to avoid that. But anyway, this particular banjo is fretless, and if you play a musical instrument like a guitar or mandolin or something like that, you know that they generally have frets in them. Well, this don't have any. And years ago, George Bolander, he's the guy that taught me how to start playing clawhammer. He told me the frets were just speed bumps. They just get in the way of you playing. And I didn't believe him. But I've been playing this a lot, and I've realized that my fingers know where to put themselves on the neck, and I don't really need the frets, which surprised me. You know, like if I'm, one of the things that will stop you from being a pretty good banjo player is thinking about it too much. And if you have to think about how to fit your fingers in behind the frets, that's something, one more thing to think about. But if you ain't got no frets, you know, you can just start out. Be in tune. And this has completely unfancy tuners. These are just pieces of wood that's been cut out and stuck in a hole there, and friction's the only thing that makes them work. I forgot what I was going to say. But anyway, I've been having fun playing this, and it works out good. Keeps my fingers moving, you know. Gives me something not to think about when I'm not thinking about anything. But you notice that ain't very loud. So what I did was the other day I was showing y'all where I went out and I bought a little thing that you could electrify your banjo with, and it's basically a little thing that you stick one side on the instrument and the other side plugs into your amplifier. Well, that got me to remembering that years ago I bought a little amplifier. It's like a battery powered amplifier. It's only this big. There's a movie about, it's actually a movie based on the life of Robert Johnson, who was a famous blues musician who basically, you know, they claimed he sold his soul to the devil down at the crossroads, and the devil had taught him how to play. And this movie was kind of based on that, but in the movie, the young man that was had a young white man playing that role in this movie, and in the movie he had one of these little amplifiers and he hung it on his belt, and he went out to a kind of a satanic banjo competition with this on his belt and blew everybody else away. But I didn't know how good this would work. In fact, it went through the flood. It's been underwater, so I thought it might not work at all. But I bought it, and I put a battery in it. It's got a little 9-volt battery in it, and I plugged it in. Like that right there, So I'm going to show you what it sounds like with that on it. Now, this is with see, where's my on and off button? I believe that's it right there. So, this is without. This is with. And I can do things with the treble, but I don't know what that does. That's all the way one way. That's all the way the other way. And then I got this other switch that makes it go way too loud. I'm going to actually turn it down before I switch it over to there. It can make it like now. Now I don't need that kind of distortion. I don't need it to have all that distortion for me to be okay with it, you know what I mean? Oh no, this is turned. See, it's just one more thing for me to fancy on and lose my track, and I'll lose my train of thought. Train of thought. Get it? But anyway, that makes it a little louder. It don't make me necessarily a better banjo player, but I mean, it makes it a little louder. But I like that. I like that pretty good. I mean, you know, I can put it on the other big amplifier, and it'll make it sound even more. The other thing about this is this neck here. I could make these. Ain't nothing to this. The biggest reason I don't make banjo necks, and y'all know I build a lot of banjos, but generally I buy the necks, and a lot of times I'll buy old banjos and take the necks off of them and put a different neck on it and do stuff like that. This is a neck I could build myself because it don't have the frets. Now, the dynamics of a fret on a fretted instrument are a bit daunting. Not only do they all have to be a different distance apart from each other, but that distance is relative to where they are on the board. So if you start up here, you're going to have a bigger distance between the space between the frets than you are down here, where you're going to have a little short distance. And that matters. Every one of them has to be calculated to be just right. And then you have to cut the wood and sink them into the wood, and they have to be set on such a way that if you mash behind one here, it's not going to buzz against the next one down. So the next one down can't be higher. In fact, it's best if it's a little lower, and sometimes you can get a little lower just by raising the bridge. But those exacting bits of carpenter work are what's made me never even attempt to make a fretted neck banjo. But this here, with no frets, heck fire, I could build these all day long. In fact, I saw a young fella on YouTube, and I'm not sure what country he was in because he seemed a little different, and the way he talked seemed a little different. I almost wondered if he wasn't in one of the, you know, European countries over like Czechoslovakia or Poland or who knows, Ukraine or something. But he made a banjo out of a pallet. He took an old pallet, he sawed it up with a handsaw, fitted it all together and made this part down here and got him a skin and stretched over it and put some tacks in it and let it dry, and he strung it up, you know, and he made a banjo. I thought, well, dang, that's impressive to see somebody make a banjo out of almost nothing and make a musical instrument at all that played, and then actually played and sounded pretty good. So anyway, I just wanted to say all that because I don't know what else we got to talk about sitting out here leaned up against the side of the hot rod. You know, we could talk about women, but I'm married, and I can't say too much about women. Besides, at my age, you know, probably most people shouldn't be talking about women. And we could talk about politics, but sure as the world, you know, nobody'd agree with what I think, and I think everybody else was knucklehead for thinking what they think. And of course, I wouldn't want to say that because that could start a political warfare. You know, we got enough of that going around already. We could talk about Jesus and Lord knows I like to talk about Jesus, but I'm pretty sure y'all get tired of hearing me talk about Jesus, because I talk about Jesus all the time, you know. Jesus this and Jesus that, and Jesus loves you, and Jesus saves, and Jesus died for your sins. And, you know, you're going to hear so much of that before you kind of tune people out. So, but I figured we could talk about the dynamics, the relationship to the universe of banjo fretage is a thing. That's a thing, and we could talk about that. See, and that'd be something brand new that y'all probably ain't never thunk about. And then on top of that, there's a whole other thing, and I'm just working my way up to this, because I don't want to say everything that I was thinking about saying all at once, because then, you know, why would you ever tune in again? But the other thing is I got little nubby hands and little short fingers, and they don't work very good on top of everything else. One of the reasons, and I was explaining this to a young lady last night, we went to a gathering of all the people that I went to high school with, and she said she had tried to learn the guitar, but she couldn't do it. And I said, well, of course you can't. The guitar necks are too dang fat. I can't even get my hand around one. And she said, yeah, me too neither. And but I was telling her on a banjo, you know, got a lot of skinnier neck. You only got these 4 strings you have to play. This one here's a drone string. You don't even have to fret it. And, you know, it's just so much easier to play, just largely because you can reach your hand about it. Well, on this one here, this neck is just about right, but it's cut at an almost square angle. What I mean from that is the side goes down square, it's kind of rounded off, and it goes back. And I was thinking, well, if I got me a grinder and I grinded off some of this wood right here, and by the way, this part up here is where most of the playing happens at anyway. But if I ground off these sides so that they came to more of a point, and in fact, I was looking at I got some good banjos out back. One of them, you know, I was looking at a Vega banjo this morning, and they almost grind that down to a sharp point right in the middle so that the sides come in like that. Now, this may not be the best wood to be grinding up, but it might be all right. I'm not sure what kind of wood this is, but, you know, it could be some yellow pine or something like that, which if it was, you know, you don't want to make it too unstrong here. But on the other hand, these are just nylon strings, you know, so that's like pulling on it with a bunch of pieces of fishing string, you know. I don't think they're liable to break a neck off too much. I think I could take a little off of there, so I will later. I'll get a grinder and I'll just grind on that a little bit. So, because see, when I put that in my hand, well, that part right there, these 2 parts right here fall right here on my hand, but if I took off some of that, they would fall down in there, and I'd have more fingers to reach around there and touch, you know, the keyboard with. Keyboard. You heard me say keyboard, didn't you? That just goes to show you right there. See how I work Jesus in there? See right there? Looks like y'all wasn't even expecting it, wasn't you? I done talked about Jesus and stopped, and y'all thought, well, we can watch a little more because he's not going to talk about Jesus, and I just put you right in there. I'm smart. I'm pretty dang smart. I come up with stuff like that all the time. I'm a real bundle of joy, I tell you. Oh, I love Jesus. Oh, I love Jesus. Oh, I love brings up something else. You see me sliding that string there. Well, a lot of people play instruments with bottle slide. I wish I'd have stuck one in my pocket, but they'll hit the string and they'll slide it with a little glass thing they stick on. Usually I stick mine on my little finger and then I can go. But it sounds better when you got a bottle slide. But Yeah, so that's another thing that makes it a lot easier when you don't have the frets. This might become my new favorite banjo right here, which is kind of oddish because it's probably the least expensive, or it must be close to nearly about the least expensive banjo. Well, maybe it's not the least expensive, but it's not a very expensive banjo. And I got banjos that really very valuable, cost a lot of money. People pay a lot of money to get them. And heck, fire! If I can have this much fun on something this simple, I just summed up my whole life in that one sentence. If I can have this much fun with something so simple, that's me. Woo-wee. What was I doing? What was I singing about? What was I saying? Oh, there's a name I love to sing. Is it worth it? Sounds like music in my ear. The sweetest name on earth. Oh, I love Jesus. Oh, I love Jesus. Oh, I love Jesus because he first loved me. After a little bit, I'll go get that slide. We'll play some slide stuff. There's lots of different things when it comes to sliding too, and I don't know about them all, but I hear people talk about different tunings and stuff, so I'm about to learn some more about that right there. Yes, I am indeed. Yes, I am. So anyway, there's all that. I hope y'all enjoyed that, and if you didn't, just go watch 63 Impala. He's got an old truck put back together that he's done been out of shape. Well, I tell you, this ain't really funny. It's almost kind of sad, but I blew the engine on my Rambler the other day, and of course 63 Impalas had a shop that caved in on Fred the truck. He's had a rat rod. Well, he had a nice pickup truck that caught on fire, and he put it back together. He had his hot rod caught on fire. He put it, he's in the process of putting it back together, and he got a shop to rebuild. And then his pickup truck fell off a lift and wrecked it all up. And I sent him just a little email that said something like, well, you're not the only one. And I told him I blew the engine. He said, well, just take it out and drop it on its side from 4 feet high and then set it on fire. And I thought, whoa. Bless his heart. Because the reality is that my bad hardshipness is like tiny compared to his bad hardshipness. He's had a lot of bad hardshipness, so y'all keep him in your prayers. He's a good old boy, and the nice thing about it, with all him having all these troubles, it just gives us a lot more good stuff to get to watch, because we get to watch him put everything back together. So if y'all can stand his long videos, I know they're way too long, but if y'all can stand his long videos, y'all go over and watch him. And I got to stop talking, because otherwise I'm going to have a long video here, and he'll be making fun. He'll be talking about me having long videos, because I'm usually the one that just makes these little short videos, because I feel like, well, I know I got more important things to do than sit around and yammer with y'all all day long, and y'all probably got more important things to do too. But apparently he don't think about that. He can talk he can just talk about stuff, and that's how he is. So anyway, I love y'all. So does Jesus. See how I worked that in there again? We're going to stop now. Hey, we got a car show coming up this week. In fact, we got two. We got one over in Hartwell, and we got one down in Lexington. The Hartwell one is Saturday morning. The one down in Lexington is Sunday evening. And I'm going to be at both of them if the weather permits in this baby right here. Yes, indeed. I love this thing. I just love this thing. All right. I'll just play some more. Y'all don't mind. You don't have to listen if you want to. Y'all can go ahead and change the channel if you want. I'm just going to mess around with this. turn this up and make it all weird. I'm sure that's not making it any better. I'll turn that back down. In fact, I'll turn that plumb off. Click. There. Alright then. Let's go see what else we can get into. I love y'all. Appreciate you and everything. That'd make a nice photograph right there. That's sitting on the fender like that, wouldn't it? We just take that picture. I move him thing that was sitting on. Just take that picture. Put that up on a book face tomorrow so people have something to look at when they get up. Oh, the joy.